Good morning, everybody. This is Rama on Riding, coming to you live from a very dark Kailua Kona, Hawaii. Today we have a special feature. We have Catherine Carrigan, who is one of our best marketers, talking about social media. For those of you who don't know Catherine, she is a two-time Amazon #1 bestseller, and that doesn't mean that she's had one book reach #1 twice. She's had two books reach #1 probably twice by now. Her first book is called What is Healing? Her newly released book is called Unlimited Energy Now. And Catherine has been working with me for a couple of years, if not longer. When I first met her, she did not even have a Facebook page. She did have a website, but she didn't really have control of her website, so she wasn't working it. I believe that she did have a newsletter, so she did have one leg up on many of us. But Catherine has taken everything that we've thrown at her to heart, and she has done a tremendous job with social media, with marketing, and she's applied all of these techniques to her business as well as her book. And I just remember one call she gave me about a year ago, I think it was, where she said, Rama, I gotta tell you that my business is up 400% over last year. And she attributed that to all of the techniques that we had been working on as far as marketing her book. And she also went on to say, all my friends with their businesses are suffering, and it's because they are not marketing their businesses. And I just wanted to say that I'm really proud of Catherine for moving ahead, but I'm also somewhat proud of myself because that was what changed as I took over this position. I helped the authors realize that being an author is more than just writing a book and putting up a website and sitting back and doing nothing. Marketing is at least as important, probably more important than writing the book, and it really warms my heart that this message is filtering through to all of you. Well, with that said, Catherine, welcome. You know, if you want to introduce yourself and tell everybody who you are, what you do. I've just given a little bit of an intro, but not a huge intro. So you're on.
Okay, thank you so much, Rama. And let's face it, we all love Rama. I just really appreciate Rama because I feel like he always has my back and he always has my best interest at heart. Plus, he's going to give us an honest opinion. My most recent book, I'm a big gardener and I have an organic garden, and I wanted to put something ridiculous like 70 pictures of flowers in my book. And Rama talked me out of it, and he was right. So it's really great to have somebody that we can count on for good judgment. My name is Catherine Carrigan. I'm a medical intuitive healer and Amazon #1 best-selling author. Now, the point of doing this seminar for all of us today is to share how to do social media better. Now, let's start with why would we need to do social media? So the first thing is, if you're an author, we want people to find out about our books. We want to share our message. There's a reason that we wrote our books, and it's because we have information and insight that we want to share. So with the social media, we can connect to the people who need to hear our message. If we run a business, we want to engage in the social media because research shows that only 10% of consumers today trust advertising, whereas 78% of consumers trust peer recommendations. So people are going to connect through the social media to people who have opinions, who have testimonials, and who can share information about products and services and businesses that what works. And if you're just an ordinary person, you're going to want to engage in the social media because you want to find like-minded people, and we can create virtual communities of people all over the globe who share the same values that we do through the social media. So first of all, I want to start by saying that I wrote a series of 6 blogs that you can read to follow along. So I wrote out some material so that you can follow the information. And if you go to www.catherine.carrigan.com, Catherine, CARRIGAN.com, you can find the blogs written out in bite-sized pieces. I also published it all over 5,000 words on my other website, Unlimited Energy Now. That's www.unlimitedenergynow.com. So you can find that written, printed material there. And in those blog articles, I include the resources of people that I have used who actually helped me. Now, I want to say that, whenever we are doing something like this, and especially if it's your first book, you have to give yourself permission to be a beginner. And I definitely spent money with other individuals whose advice and work didn't pan out. So when I share these resources with you, these are people who I have spent money with, who actually do what they say they're going to do, water concept, and who deliver on their word. So the people are Rama. We love Rama. I just can't say enough great things about Rama, because as an author, he is your best advocate. He's going to try and help you produce your book to the best of your personal ability, and he's going to give you honest advice. Then there is Greg Kesey. I cannot say enough great things about Greg. He really has had my back more times than I can even count. Again, one of the things that I always tell people about Greg, when people ask me for recommendations about website people, I say Greg is an excellent communicator. And I remember the first time I talked to Greg, I had to pick out a theme, which is a template for my website, CatherineCarrigan.com. And I was so nervous, I was stuttering. And Greg also helped me when I produced the audiobook version of What is Healing? Awaken Your Intuitive Power for Health and Happiness, because the audiobook producer did not follow the guidelines properly. And Greg caught the mistake and he corrected everything. So we love Greg. He's going to keep you on the cutting edge, but he's a really nice guy, and you can talk to him even if you're not a geek. Robin Charlson is my Twitter guru, and she will tweet for you once an hour, 24/7. And I write the tweets. Later on, what I'm going to do is I'm going to walk you through what I actually do in the social media. But I write the tweets, I produce the photographs, and Robin helps spread that message. Denise Cancino, who a lot of us know by now, she is the Amazon marketing genius. I recently listened to a series of webinars about how to sell 1,000 books in 21 days. And one of the other presenters said if he wanted to sell that many books, he'd just hire Denise. And one of the things that we learned from working with Denise is that it's all about backlinks. So the more that we can cross-blog, that when you cross-blog, that means I post a blog on your blog, you post a blog on my blog, and we create these links. And if you are listening to this webinar and you have a blog, I will trade blog posts for you. If you just email me at Catherine@CatherineCarrigan.com, I will post one blog for every blog that you post for me, and that way we can support each other in our marketing. You can also find out about a website called Klout, Klout.com. We're going to talk about that this morning. And Klout is kind of like your instant report card to tell you how well you're actually doing on the social media. And one of the things that we're going to learn about this morning is that it's not enough just to post information. So in the past, people would just create a website and have it just sit there and hope that people would find you. What we learn in the social media is that it's not just enough to put out information, to post blogs, or even to post information on the social media. Clout is actually a measure about how much you interact. And I see a lot of people who are posting on the social media, but they're not interacting. So one of the rules that I have for myself, if anyone tries to communicate with me on any of my social media, I always communicate back with them. And by doing that, my clout score has gone to 65. Jared Dolas, who may be on the line with us, who's with Social Ally, which I'll tell you about in the morning, he said that when your clout score reaches 63, you're in the top 5% of internet marketers. And my score is 65. So clout.com, where you can see how well you're doing. And then if you want to create a monthly newsletter, go to constantcontact.com. Greg can help you set up a newsletter, all about it, and he can make that easy for you. And if you know nothing about social media or about WordPress or about Twitter or Facebook, there is a website called lynda.com, lynda.com. For $25 a month, you can take as many courses as you like. When I started, I knew nothing, and I had to take a course about how to use. I took a course about how to use Twitter on lynda.com. And frankly, the courses are boring, but they allow you to go at your own pace, and there's videos you can watch, and you can watch them as many times as you want, and it's really inexpensive for the training you get. The cover artist for my most recent book, Unlimited Energy Now, is a wonderful gentleman named Mainza Osiris. And Rama, of course, we love Rama. He connected with me with Mainza, and Mainza did an incredible job on my book cover. You can see it on Amazon. You can see it on my website, Unlimited Energy Now. And he gave me an amazing price to do my book cover. He did my book cover and my new business logo for $333. It was an incredible deal, and he did a wonderful job. Last but not least, Jared Dolas at Social Ally. And I was on the social media one day, and I connected with another author named Art Costello. And Art told me that I needed to get on Social Ally. And he said that he had a friend in Texas where he lives who does PR for New York Times bestselling authors. And the PR guy said, he looked at Social Ally and said that Social Ally would put him out of business. And when I talked to Jared, he said that other people that he knew who were clients on Social Ally had been able to get to the front page of Google. And one of the goals that people frequently set to excel at business is to get on the front page of Google. If you Google medical intuitive, I have now reached the front page of Google. And what's interesting is that what got me to the front page of Google is a post on Google Plus, which is one of the social media websites that we're going to talk about. And most recently, I think beginning in 2014, in order to show up high on Google, you have to show up high on the social media. So this is not something that we can ignore. Anyway, bottom line, you can find the phone numbers and the emails for all these wonderful folks who do what they say they're going to do and who deliver on their marketing promises on CatherineCarrigan.com and Unlimited Energy Now. So I'm going to be going through sort of the outline that I have created here. And what I wanted to start by talking about is I feel that many people are intimidated and overwhelmed and afraid of the social media. And I know that I was when I started. And I wanted to start by proclaiming that I am not a geek. And many people think that you have to be born with some special computer ability or some special marketing degree from college in order to excel at this. I do not have a marketing degree. I am not a geek. And I wanted to establish my non-geek credentials by telling the story about I got a divorce that was finalized in 2011. And I wanted to tell this story. In January of 2011, sort of very close to when my divorce was being finalized, first my cell phone broke, and then my desktop computer broke. And I remember going to the Apple store, and at that point I was pretty much in tears because, you know, all the technology in my entire house was broken, and I knew nothing about how to fix any of it. And fortunately for me, I live in Atlanta, and there's an Apple store at the Lenox Mall, and I signed up $99 a year for the one-to-one program, and I started learning how to use my computer. So they told me that the reason my computer broke was that I'd been turning it off incorrectly for 4 years. So my point in telling you this is that when I started, I knew nothing about computers. I knew nothing about social media. And as Rama said, I didn't even start with Facebook until February of 2013. And I didn't really even start working on my Twitter account until January 15th, 2014. And what I do is every month I sort of take a measurement on the 15th of the month of how I'm doing on my social media. So I started on January 14th, 2015 with Robin Charlson, the Twitter genius. And on January 15th, 2014, I had 80 Twitter followers. As of today, I have almost 8,100 Twitter followers. So that's over 1,000% increase on Twitter. Now, a lot of us can say, well, who cares about Twitter? Well, first of all, Denise Casino, the Amazon genius, the Amazon marketing genius, the one lady who helps you get to number one, she actually gets you through to number one by working through Twitter. So if we as authors and business owners can work to build our own Twitter accounts, when the time comes to launch our books for, you know, to get to number one on Amazon, if we have a good Twitter following, that helps. And I can tell you that I sold a whole lot more books with this most recent Amazon number one launch than I did the first time, and I attribute that to the increase in my Twitter following. In addition to that, a lot of people again go, why bother? Well, I've been invited to be on radio shows from Twitter. I got one of my best clients ever on Twitter. So at any rate, just know that if you're not a geek, you can still do this. If you don't know anything about computers, you can still do this. And I'm a big fan of Apple products because they're so great with education. And if you live in a big city like I do, join the Apple one-to-one program. And anytime I get hung up with my iPhone or my laptop, I either go to the Genius Bar if something's broken, and then they help me figure out what's wrong. Or if there's something, a new program that I want to learn, I go and take a lesson. And I know that when I started taking lessons, what I noticed was that all the people giving lessons were about 22 years old, and all the people who were taking lessons were my age. I'm 55 years old. As you can see, I wear glasses. And, you know, even the basic stuff was very difficult for me. So when I started, I knew nothing. And also when I started, I'd had a website for a long time. The old website was totalfitness.net. And I had a professional analysis done on that website. And the analysis told me that the website failed absolutely every test there was. In other words, even though it was out there, nothing worked. And I asked the people, I said, well, what do I need to do about it? And they said, well, it would actually be cheaper to rebuild an entirely new website than it would be to fix the old website. So thanks to Greg Kesey, my personal hero in computers, Greg helped me rebuild the old website, which is now called Unlimited Energy Now, and has a ton of wonderful information there about fitness, nutrition, and natural healing. If you look at that website and read 10% of it and do even 2% of the information, you could be incredibly healthy and incredibly happy. And then in addition to that, about this time that I was taking lessons at the Apple store, a friend of mine said, you know, Catherine, you're very good at everything you do, but the thing that you have the greatest talent is your work as a medical intuitive. And she said, you're your talent as a medical intuitive cannot be taught or learned, and you need to start writing about that. So the folks at the Apple Store helped me create my first blog, CatherineCarrigan.com, where I started writing about my work as a medical intuitive. And I feel that writing that I did actually helped me to write my second book, What is Healing? Awaken Your Intuitive Power for Health and Happiness. So in other words, by just writing little bits about what it is that I do and the insights about healing that I had, it helped me prepare so that when I actually went to write a book, I had all these around in my head. So the bottom line is, even if you know nothing, you can get an Apple computer and start signing up for lessons at 1-to-1 and learn how to use your computer better. And if you don't know anything about the social media or WordPress, you can take lessons at lynda.com on how to operate all this stuff. And then failing all that, you can do one-on-one lessons with Greg. I know that Greg and I just had a one-on-one lesson recently where he showed me how to use Sumo Me, which is a new function on the website. And he also helped me work out some issues that I had. So he uses something called Team Viewer. So you can get on the internet with Greg and he can sit there with you and walk you through and show you how to do things better if you know nothing. So you can do it. If I did it, and I was extremely fearful. So as I said, from starting with virtually nothing, the only thing that I had going for me, like Rama said, I had a newsletter that I had published for years. And I also had a LinkedIn account. But as of today, my Clout score is 65. And to put that in perspective, the Clout score is a score from 0 to 100. And so, for example, Obama would be at 99, because if he says something, people are going to listen. J.K. Rowling, we all know who that is, she's 90. Louise Hay's Clout score is also 65. Esther Hicks is 61. So all the things that I'm going to explain to you today, if you actually apply this information, you can go from 0 to nothing and have clout in the social media, connect to people who want to read your books, connect to customers who need to come and work with you, and simply also connect with like-minded people wherever they are all over the world. Okay, so the second thing that I want to just touch on is that as authors, our sole desire is to communicate. So there's a reason that, we get this bug in our head that we have to write a book. We have this sole desire to write a book. And part of what that is about is really the sole desire of communicating. Now, as Raman mentioned, my first book was published in 1997. I wrote a book about holistic healing for depression. And again, I love Rama, and Rama has talked me into doing an updated version of the book. And I'm like every other author. And I made $3,000. It was the best-selling book of the original publisher, and went on to be taken over by a second publisher. And however, after 3 years' work and only making $3,000, I thought, I'm an adult. I actually have to make a living here, and I stopped writing. And what motivated me to start writing again, and what motivated me to write the second book, What is Healing, was that one of my clients in Los Angeles found my book translated into Chinese. She happened to be at the LA library, and there was my book in Chinese. Nobody had bothered to tell me. I didn't make a single dime off this additional publication. So a lot of authors think, I can just get a publisher. They think, I can find someone else who can promote the work and promote my book and do all the work. Well, let me tell you, if you find somebody else who does all the work, believe me, they will take all the money. And that experience taught me that I want to, Ram is laughing. It's true. And, in no other business do I know of would you do all the work and let someone else make all the money? So I'm very committed to self-publishing, and that's part of the reason why I'm also very committed to the social media and making it work and building a platform so that people who need my information can find it. So Tom Bird, our writing coach, who's got a wonderful method of helping you write your books and get the information out of you, he talks about the new age of publishing. And it is true that everything's different these days. When I have friends who are interested in writing a book, I say, well, go to Tom Bird's programs. He'll help you write a book. I see so many people, they're procrastinating and not getting the information out. And but then many people who are writing books or who are in that process, they're looking for a publisher. I would strongly recommend you to take on what I'm saying today and publish your own books, because otherwise you're just going to be giving away not only your money but also your information. So there's several reasons why we as authors need to take the time to create a social media platform. Number one is to communicate directly with the people who need to hear our message. Number two, to build our businesses, as writing a book is one of the best ways to build your business and recruit new clients. When you have a book, you're automatically an expert. Number three, to connect to other media outlets such as radio shows and TV shows who can help us share our messages. I was on a radio program, Vibrant Living Radio, this yesterday, for an hour. And the reason that I got invited to be on that radio show was that the gentleman host, Glenn Brooks, read my article on LinkedIn. He read my blog post on LinkedIn. He contacted me. He called me on the phone and he said, please come be on the radio show. And then he invited me to be part of their team, all because of social media. I'm also going to be on a local TV program here in Atlanta, and they evaluated me not only because I was an author, they saw my social media impact. Another reason to do the social media is to connect with like-minded people. So I can connect with other people who believe in healthy living, organic foods, and exercise and peace and meditation and doing things naturally and non-drug approaches. And there are people all over the world just like me who are interested in this information, who want to know more. And another big reason to do social media is to get to number one on Google. As I mentioned, Google has changed the way that it does its rankings. And in order to show up on high in the Google rankings, you actually have to do a good job in the social media. So it's not enough today to just put out a website and to write a book and so on. You actually have to do the social media in order to show up high in Google. And and then finally, by doing the social media, you can connect with people. And I talk to a lot of people say, this is boring. I actually find the social media to be very uplifting, and I'm always learning new things by reading what other people are having to say. And big picture, as you build your social media presence, you're building the audience for your books and your business and letting people know how you can serve them. Now, the third thing that I want to talk about is your website. And again, after this presentation, set up a time to talk to Greg. If you already have a website, maybe even set up a one-on-one appointment with Greg over the phone. You can use TeamViewer to ask him to evaluate your website and figure out how you can do this stuff better. So I have two websites. My first website, unlimitedenergynow.com, tremendous amount of information there about fitness, nutrition, and natural healing. My favorite website is my blog, CatherineCarrigan.com. That's my favorite one because it has all the pictures of my orchids and my organic garden. I love all that stuff. And anyway, I maintain those. So what I'm going to do right now is I'm going to start sharing my screen. And Ram, I hit share screen, right? Is that what I do? Okay. So
Yep, I had to unmute myself there. Now we are seeing your screen.
All right, so what I'm going to do now is I'm going to take you into my websites and show you some of the things that I do that you can do in order to do a better job on your social media. So hold on a minute. So the first place I'm going to take you is to CatherineCarrigan.com. All right. And while you're there, if you're following along, you can sign up for my monthly newsletter. If you sign up my monthly newsletter, you will get a bunch of free stuff. So here's my newsletter. And so your newsletter is the foundation for your social media. And basically, this is a place where you're going to create your content. And one of the things that people say about social media is that people come for the content. People are going to come to you because of what you say, and they're going to stay for the community. I can't tell you how many times I have responded to people on the social media. Somebody posted a really good article, and I connected back with them, and they didn't respond. If you have a normal conversation and somebody's walking down the street and you go, "Hi, Joe, how's it going?" and they keep on walking by, you're not going to keep trying to communicate with them. So again, it's really important to interact. And again, I make a personal rule that if anybody tries to communicate with me, I always respond back to them. So here's my first, the blog, CatherineCarrigan.com. And over here, Greg has a sign up where you can sign up for the newsletter. And it's got sort of a come on. When you sign up for the newsletter, I give you some free stuff. If you have a business, you can think about free information, whether it's a yoga sequence about how to heal your back, or, some tips about how to keep your car going better in the wintertime. So these are free things. And when you sign up for my newsletter, I send you some autoresponders that Greg can help you with. So you get a free yoga class or a free Qigong class. You get half off a first session. You get discounts on my web store, all by signing up for the newsletter. Anyway, over here down here, I have a list for my Goodreads giveaway. I'm going to talk about Goodreads in a little bit. Goodreads is the largest social media website for authors and readers. If you are an author, you can get a free author website about, you can get a free author profile on Goodreads. My first Goodreads giveaway, I think I had 560 people sign up to enter to win a free copy of What is Healing? Awaken Your Intuitive Power for Health and Happiness. And that means 560 people found out about my books. And what I like about Goodreads is that if you had a bike store like Rama did, you'd want to go where people actually ride bikes. And if you're an author or a reader, you want to actually go where people are writing and reading books and writing reviews. And that's Goodreads. So this giveaway, which goes through February 15th, 143 people have requested it. I estimate it'll cost me about $100 to do this giveaway between the cost of the production of the book and mailing out the books, because I restrict it to the US. So that's $100 in advertising to get all these people to find out about my book. You can do that. Once you set up your author profile, you also can do a Goodreads giveaway. And then once you do your giveaway, you can set up a link so that it's on your website so people who can go to your website can go. Now, if you follow down right here, and Greg helped me with this recently, we added a link to Skype. So in my business, because I'm a medical intuitive, I actually work with people all over the world. I got a call yesterday from a lady in Canada. So we set up a Skype button so people can go to my website and call me from Skype. Now over here on the left, this is really important for everybody to see. And if you have a website, I strongly you get with Greg and ask him to put these buttons on your website. So I'm going to go through these sort of one by one. Okay, if you click there, then you can follow me on Facebook. If you click there, you can follow me on Twitter. That is a button for RSS feed. RSS feed is where if a service, so if you write a blog post, your fans and readers can get the RSS feed delivered to their email box so they can follow your blog articles through their email. Again, I have to ask Greg what that one is. Okay, follow us on email. Greg will have to explain that one. Okay, that's LinkedIn. That's Instagram. That's Pinterest. That's YouTube. Again, that's Skype, Google+, Goodreads, and Tumblr. So big picture, what you want to do is you want to actually set up your social media accounts. And once you set up your social media accounts, then put the buttons on your website so people can start following you. The gentleman who had me on the radio show yesterday, he did a fabulous radio show, and I wanted to tweet about it afterwards saying, thank you so much. Had a great radio show with Glenn Brooks and Michael J. Russ. Well, Michael J. Russ, the co-host, he had a Twitter account, and I was able to post for him so that he can share that around. But Glenn, the wonderful host, did not have a Twitter account. And I went to his website, and the only thing that I could find was LinkedIn, and we were already connected there. So just know that if people like you, they will want to connect to you. If the people like your books, they will want to connect to you. People spend money with people they like and trust. So you want to make it easier for them to follow you by having these buttons on your website. Okay, now I'm going to go into the dashboard of my website and show you all a couple of things that are important. In the resources, I forgot to mention that I hired an SEO guy named Scott Smith. Scott D. Smith is in London, England. I love Scott. Scott was recommended to me by one of my clients who's a CEO of a company over in England. And my client, who was a CEO, he explained to me that he had wasted over $50,000 with different people who said they could get you to number one on Google. Well, there again, Scott actually does what he says he can do. Initially, when I started my work, I worked with another SEO person, who shall remain nameless, because she didn't do what she said she would do. But Scott can help you identify keywords. Keywords are search terms that people would be looking for if they're trying to find you and your business and your books. All right, so one of the important things I want you to see about this, I'm going to go into my posts. All right, so let's look at this. This is an article that I just published, and it's about payoffs. And one of the things that Denise talks about, Denise Casino, the Amazon book specialist, she said that so many of her authors say, well, I don't have anything to blog about. And she said, well, you just wrote a book. All you got to do is a book. So this blog article is about payoffs. The blog article that I wrote was about why about now you may be having trouble sticking to your New Year's resolution. It's because of the payoffs you get by staying stuck in the way you are. So I start listing them, and in here I say, if you want to read more, get my book, because I talk about this in great detail. So if you're an author, you know how to write, and if you are having trouble thinking of things to write about in your blog, all you've got to do is take chapters from your book and blog about them. And then also right here, and when you blog about them, you include a link, and that link is going to lead you to where you can buy my book on Amazon. Now, I also have a web store, and Greg can set up a web store where you can sell your book, and I have that, but I'm linking it specifically to Amazon so that people can read the 28 5-star reviews when they get there. Okay, now over here, this is extremely important. If you have a blog and you only remember one thing about what I say to you today, this is what you need to remember. When I write a blog and I hit publish, and this article's already been published, Greg Kesey can install for you something called a jetpack. So let me show you what that means. So a jetpack is a function where you connect your website to all your social media. So when I hit publish, okay, that article gets immediately published on Facebook, although I have to say that the connection with Facebook hasn't been working so well. It immediately gets published on Twitter. It immediately gets published on LinkedIn. It immediately gets published on Tumblr. It immediately gets published on Path, and it immediately gets published on Google. So again, what you want to do as an author, as a business owner, or just someone who wants to do a good job with social media, you set up your social media accounts, and then you start blogging. And then set up this jetpack so that when you publish, you immediately bring information back to all these social media. So you start building this content on your social media that people can start interacting with. So you want the jetpack. If you're an author, you want to start writing about your book. If you don't know what else to write about, a lot of times what I do is when I think of things to blog about, I think about what people are asking me about. So I have an article that I have written that I actually wrote this morning that's going to be published tomorrow, and it's based on questions that people have asked me about recently. So if I know if people are asking me about it, it's on everybody's mind, and I just write a blog explaining it. So you're going to set up your accounts on the social media and then connect your blog to all these social media, and then ask Greg to set up the jetpack. And the next thing I'll say is that if you have a business, again, you may want to consider getting Greg to help you with Constant Contact, where you can send out a regular newsletter. I have written a newsletter for so long in my business, I can't even remember when I started it. I think I started it at some point in my mid-30s. I'm now 55. And but if you do a newsletter, what Greg has taught me is that newsletters these days need to be short. A lot of newsletters get read on people's mobile phones, so 1 or 2 articles. So I have changed the way that I do my marketing, because I used to spend about 2 days just writing all the content, taking photographs, and putting together my newsletter. Now I keep it shorter because that's what people are looking for in the social media. Okay, so I want to start, the fourth thing I want to talk about is my daily rituals, the things that I do on a regular basis to be successful with the social media. So usually the first thing that I'll do is, and I don't necessarily do it every day. Just like I try and exercise every day, my goal is to exercise for an hour a day. But because I exercise regularly, if I miss a day, it's no big deal. And my goal is to blog regularly. But since I'm blogging regularly, if I miss a day, it's no big deal. So what I'll do is I'll take my laptop, my MacBook Air, and I will start writing my blog in bed. So I wake up and I just start writing. And as an author, I feel that this is really helpful because it's kind of like if you were an artist, you might do a lot of sketches before you actually did a huge painting. So here's a blog that I wrote this morning, and it's scheduled to go out tomorrow. And a good blog article should be short, about 300 to 500 words. Let's see how long this one is, 776 words. And I want to show you down here, that's a picture that somebody took of me. But most of the photographs, pretty much all the photographs that you see on my websites, I took with my iPhone camera. And I'm very blessed because my studio is full of orchids, and I have an all-organic garden, so I have beautiful subject material. I also like to go to the Atlanta Botanical Garden. But just know that if you use photographs in your website, you may end up having to pay for the images, so you're better off taking the picture yourself. And I have a big laugh because I went to Brown. I was Phi Beta Kappa, and I studied art history, which, as you can see is, really paying off for me these days. But when I started taking the pictures, what I realized was that I really enjoy taking pictures. So again, this is an article that I wrote, and it's based on questions that people ask me. I've got a link in the article to the exercise library. And because what this was about was I did 2 medical intuitive readings with people. One lady had a shoulder problem, the other one had a leg problem. And I told both of them, you're not moving. Your posture is wrong. You need to actually move and exercise in order to get better. So I connected to the exercise library. So when you blog, you also want to refer back to material that you have created, whether it be your book, your website, and so on, so that you're directing people to information that you have corrected. Now, we talked about the jetpack. So this article is scheduled to go out at 7:22 in the morning. You can schedule your blog articles out. Let's say you have a regular job and you're busy and you can't blog every day. Well, maybe one weekend you spend half a day and just write a whole bunch of blogs and then schedule them to go out on a regular basis. Okay, so schedule them out, and that's a jetpack where it's going to be published out, and then Greg can help you with that. Now, once I write a blog, then what I do, let me get out of that, is for every blog that I write, I will write a series of tweets. So let me show you what I'm talking about. So I create a series of tweets. So for example, this is about 10 tweets that I wrote to go with the blog article that I published, I guess it was yesterday. So this is the URL. The URL, that's a fancy name for the website address to that article. And then what I do when I write an article, I go to a website called Bitly, okay? So Bitly, B-I-T-L-Y. And what Bitly does, it creates a shortened URL. So it creates a shortened link so that when you, let me put this one in here just to show you. So here's the long URL, and I'll go up here to Bitly and paste that in, and then I get a shorter one, okay? So that's the shortened URL. So, and then you can see here's the shortened URLs for a whole bunch of articles that I wrote. So you want to use a shortened URL on Twitter because Twitter only allows you to have 140 characters. So step 1, I write my blog. After I published it, then I write a series of about 10 tweets. And let me show you what I do. So I'll write a tweet, and I'll go over to Twitter, and I've got the shortened URL. I'm going into my Twitter account now, and I will actually post that into Twitter. Okay, so I know that I write it usually in Twitter because that way I know whether it's too long or too short. And usually the advice is that you want to use some space, because if people like your tweets, they will retweet them for you. Now, I'm going to add a photograph. Now, this is important. So here's a picture that I took, and that's a picture of roses. I have a 1-hour walk in my neighborhood, and I saw some beautiful roses, and I took that picture. So one of the reasons I think that I've really excelled at Twitter is that I include a photograph with every tweet that I send out. Literally every tweet that I have has photos, and I'm going to show you about that in a minute. So I've written the tweet, and I attach a photograph, and then I hit tweet. Now, let me have a little sidebar now and talk to you about photos. So I'm going to take you to my desktop. So on my desktop, I keep a bunch of photos, and these are all, those actually are photos taken by a friend of mine who raises orchids in Scotland. So sometimes I use his, but for the most part, these are all photos that I've taken. Now, if you noticed, the size is 300. So when you go to these various websites, you have to have the correct size photograph. So here's a photo that I took, or actually somebody took of me. I am getting ready to write a newsletter for February about restorative yoga. So I need to resize that photo to use on Twitter. So what I did was I took my photo out of iPhoto. So the sequence is, the photo was taken on my iPhone. It got uploaded to my iPhoto. Now, actually, I did another step, which I'm going to tell you about, but not to just, so took the photo, uploaded to iPhoto, and then I took the photo from iPhoto and I put it on my desktop. Now, I'm going to resize this. So to resize this, I come over here, I'm going to click on the photo, and under Tools, I go Adjust the Size. Now, this is really important. First of all, you want to make sure that you're using photos in tweets, because tweets with photos are more likely to be shared and retweeted. They're more likely to be noticed. The internet is a visual medium. You've probably noticed that, and people respond extremely well and more often to visual images. So I'm going to adjust the width for Twitter. So the width for Twitter is 300. The width for a WordPress photo is 800. So I know I had a whole bunch of photos in my websites and I had to go back. Greg advised me to go back and resize them. This is how you do it. You go to Preview, Tools, you open your photo, put in Tools, and then put in the width, and now it's okay. Now, I have the right photo there, and now I can write a tweet. You can get rid of stress, and I'm going to use a hashtag. So hashtags are words that if people are looking on Twitter and they're wanting to find out about a subject, if you use a hashtag, then everybody who's looking for tweets about stress is going to find your tweet. You can get rid of stress by practicing restorative yoga, okay? And I'm not going to have a URL on this. I'm just using this as an example. Now I'm going to go and find that photo. I'm going to click on Add Photo. And where is that picture? It's going to be in here somewhere. You can see I have a lot of pictures. And it's going to be in here somewhere. Thanks for bearing with me. Where is that picture? Ah, there it is. Now it's been resized for Twitter, so it's going to show up properly on Twitter. And now I've got a tweet with a picture. In real life, I'd have a URL leading back to a blog article or my website. But right now, I'm just showing you all what I'm doing, and I'm going to tweet that out. Okay, so the tweets need to be no more than 140 characters. So once I've written my blog, I've got a photo with my blog, and then I publish the blog. Then I write about a series about 10 tweets. I go to Twitter, make sure they're all okay. And once I do that, I've collected these tweets. So now what's important about this, I've created a whole bunch of tweets. Once I get a whole bunch of them together, I'm going to give these to Robin, my Twitter lady, and she's going to include this in my ongoing Twitter feed so that my Twitter feed is constantly publishing out relevant, helpful information. So even if I'm on vacation or I get bored or tired, my Twitter feed is constantly fed. And again, all these tweets are leading back to my different blogs. So by publishing on Twitter, it's also driving traffic to my websites where people will find out about me, my books, and my business. Now, once I have created these tweets, then what I do is, again, I'll collect some and I'll go over to, I'll send them over time to Robin, and she adds them into my Twitter feed. So that what's great about that is that there's constantly new information being rotated through my Twitter feed. Now, once I do this, then I go over to something called Social Ally. Now, let me go get into Social Ally and show you all about that. And Jared Dolas, who's my contact at Social Ally, he's a really great guy. Once you sign up, he will train you on it. I think they also offer a free 1 week trial, so you can try it. So I'm going to get into my Social Ally. Now, what is Social Ally? This is a dashboard that allows you to manage your social media. Now, there's a lot of dashboards out there, but let me just show you what I like about Social Ally. Jared can explain to you better what's better about Social Ally than the other ones. Let me first go to my reports. One of the things about Social Ally is it'll give you a report. And one of the things it shows you is the best time to post messages. So for me, a really good time for me to post a message is about 8 a.m. And it says if I post a message about 8 a.m. that there's a 24.85% probability that people are going to engage with my material. Nothing seems to be happening about 2 to 4 p.m. And then there's other times of the day. So that shows me right now when I really need to be on my social media and when I need to be posting. The other thing that's really interesting, sometimes I write blogs and I think, oh my God, this is the greatest blog ever. You know, this is so brilliant. Oh my goodness, this is really going to help people. And nothing happens. Nobody cares. Nobody responds. With this Social Ally, what it shows you is what people engage in. And I wrote the series of 6 blogs about this webinar that we're doing today, and I posted the information about it. So each of these here is a separate little post. So this one right here there were 25 different interactions with me with that, which means that people either favorited it, they retweeted it, they shared it around. And you want more and more interactions because that means people are sharing your information all over the internet with all their friends and followers. So that shows you over here. And then what's interesting here is it shows you the tweets that people most respond to. I wrote a blog one time about how to get your orchids to rebloom. That article got shared all over the place. So the top link, the thing that people really responded to the most, was a tweet that I wrote called "Your Energy Affects Everything and Everyone Around You." That article, there were 31 clicks as a result of that. And it linked to an article that I wrote on my blog called "My Favorite Story About Healing." So Social Ally can give you qualitative information. So when I know that that's the top thing that people are responding to, I can write more about that. Okay, so then once I write my blog, I publish my blog, and then I write about a series of 10 tweets. Then I come over here and compose. And let me go to my series. Okay, it's fun to learn social media language. Okay, I'll talk about that in a minute. So I put the tweet here. I attach a photo because, again, the social media is visual, and people will look at a tweet or a Facebook post which has a gorgeous picture. Now, I'm going to do that, and then I want to tell everybody that I want to post it on Twitter. Now I'm going to schedule it. Now, what's cool about Social Ally is you can schedule out tweets, and Robin's tweeting for me, and I also tweet for myself. So usually if I write a blog, I make sure that it gets published, a tweet about that article, linking to that article, gets posted out about one time an hour for the next 12 to 24 hours. So I'm going to make this one come out in about 10 minutes. Now, what's interesting about Social Ally is I can connect to Twitter, but I can also post anywhere on any of the other my other social media. And I think I need to touch on the other social media in a minute, so I'm going to do that. But this is what I do. I post it on Twitter, and I'm also going to put this in, I think I have a Pinterest board about garden, my angels, my garden. So I'm going to put that on Pinterest because I have a board on Pinterest called My Garden, and I'm going to schedule it out. And so it's that article is going to go out, this right here is going to get posted on Twitter and Pinterest in the next 10 minutes, and then I'm going to schedule it. So if you look at over here, and right now I don't have anything scheduled at the moment. That's the only thing scheduled. Now, the other big thing about Social Ally is your inbox. Now, as I said, the way to be successful at social media, you want to be visual and you also want to interact. So on average, usually about every day, but it could be every other day or what have you, I go to my inbox and everyone who has responded to me, I respond back to them. So here's somebody who has retweeted one of my tweets. So I'm going to reply back to them and just say, thank you so much for retweeting and sharing my article. Happy Saturday. Okay, and then I'm going to attach a photo with that. And I sent him a fabulous photo. That happens to be one of my cattleyas down in my studio, so that that person knows that I appreciate them sharing my information. I'm going to reply to that. So what I do is, in here, everybody that has interacted with you on Twitter, I wanted to show you also, somebody responded yesterday to me through Instagram. That shows up right here. So here's somebody who responded to me through Instagram, and I can reply there. The more you reply and interact, the more you're going to develop not just followers, but actual fans. And these are people who are going to be your friends. They're going to be your supporters. So going in here, this is really helpful. And we can also go directly to the social media sites themselves. But what's great about Social Ally, you save time because it's all right here, and everybody who's responded to, you can respond to right here. So here's a lady who says, lovely orchids, I'm longing for spring. And I'll say, you know, me too. I have spring bulbs blooming on my kitchen table. Thanks for enjoying my orchids. Okay, and then I'm going to attach another picture right there. So here's a picture of one of my orchids in my studio. So the Social Ally, there's a lot of functions that it can do for you. It can schedule out tweets. If you don't want to hire Robin, you can schedule out your own tweets and your own social media. You can connect to all your social media sites through this, except they haven't figured out yet how to do Goodreads. You can get reports telling you how you're doing, and you can respond to people. So let me get out of Social Ally now. Now, the other thing that I usually do is a couple of times a week, I go to a website called Clout. All right, Clout. Now, when you go to Clout, what you want to do is set up an account, and then you will, once you do that, it'll give you a Clout score. So right now I'm 65. Now, when you come in here, one of the things you do is it will ask you what you want to be known for. So for myself, I want to be known for healing. And it will suggest other people to connect to who are also interested in healing. So these are 3 people. So go to Clout a couple times a week, maybe even every day if you're really on it, and connect to the other people who are in your field, okay? And then also what's great about Clout, sometimes, let's face it, we really don't have anything to say, or we can't think of anything new to write about. So they give you suggested content. So I look at the suggested content and go, I'm not really interested in any of those. Find one more content to share. Gruesome video shows the moment a maggot wriggles free. I don't think I want to share that one. Okay, Colorado group helps breast cancer survivors get tattoos. I don't think I want to share that. Pope emphasizes post-war healing in Sri Lanka with rare Buddhist visit. Okay, that might be something worth sharing. So I hit share, and then I could share it on Facebook, or I could share it on Twitter. I'm just going to share it on Twitter, because I don't think my Facebook friends would care about that, and I share now. So again, top 5 mistakes paleo eaters make. Okay, that sounds great. I want to share that to everybody. So I'm going to share that. So Clout will give you content to share. It will allow you to connect to other people in your field. So you build your friends and followers and network. And over here, it'll show you how you're doing. So let's say friend, okay, I'm going to make this person up. Okay, Bob Jones. Okay, Bob Jones. And all right, so there's Bob Jones University. Bob Jones University, their Clout score is 64. So my Clout score is better than them. Here are other people named Bob Jones, and you can see how they're doing. So if you want to see how any of your friends are doing on Clout, you can just put in their names right here, and it'll tell you. Any rate, so you go through that, you go to Clout, and all right, you take your photos with your iPhone. The other thing that is really helpful to do is to make YouTube videos. Now, my SEO guy in London has really hammered home to me how much I need to make more YouTube videos. So I'm going to go to my channel. And I admit I need to make more YouTube videos, but one of the things that I did recently was I made a 60-second video about my new book. Now, it has had 72 views in the past month, and YouTube is the second largest search engine in the world after Google, and you want to make short videos, 1 to 3 minutes. My friend Maxine Taylor, also a Tom Bird author, also a #1 best-selling author. What Maxine says is that periodically she goes and gets her hair done, and then she films a series of YouTube videos. She said she gets her little iPhone, and then in between each video, she says she changes where she films them. She says she changes outfit, changes jewelry, changes her hairstyle. And then, so it all looks like they're done on different days, but she'll just film a whole bunch of YouTube videos. So that particular YouTube video was shot in my garden. My partner, my fiance, Ken Holmes, he filmed that. It's about 60 seconds. And I put it on Goodreads, which I'm about to lead you to. So you can create videos of content in your book. My goal is to take my most recent book, Unlimited Energy Now, and create a series of videos about that. Before I go into Goodreads, let me just show you this. I did a series of articles about breathing. I had a lot of clients with high blood pressure and kidney problems and asthma and so on, and I thought it would help them if I made some videos. So let's go to this one. This is a video that I did about bumblebee breath. Now, when you do a video, again, you want it short, 1 to 3 minutes. There I am. I'm going to stop it right there. And you can take a screenshot. So to create a screenshot, you do Command-Shift-3. Command-Shift-3. So right there, I took a photo of that video. It's going to show up on your desktop. So there's the image right there. Now, I could use that image as the picture in an article. So what I did was I did the videos first. I shot them with my iPhone. I didn't even edit them. Well, actually, that one I did. I edited that through iMovie. The one about my book, I just uploaded it straight to YouTube. And then because I wanted to do this as a blog, I took a screenshot, and then I used the screenshot as the image for some blog articles that I did. And in short videos, take the picture and then write the blog. Internet's running a little bit slow here. So Greg, the web guy, helped me embed the videos on my website. So when I wrote the article and I explained the benefits, this is what this breathing exercise did for you, and so on. It links to my YouTube channel. It links to, here's one of them right here. And it also links back to parts of my website. Okay, so let me take you now to Goodreads, and everybody who's an author needs to get on Goodreads. Now, one of the things you need to really understand about Goodreads is that Goodreads is owned by Amazon, and we know that Amazon is the big gorilla in the room. Recently, I approached several local bookstores, and I told them, I said, I have an Amazon #1 best-selling book. It's got 28 5-star reviews. Would you be interested in selling my book in your store? A couple bookstores didn't even respond to me. Another one said no. So Amazon is the gorilla in the room. We want to excel at Amazon. And part of what we need to do here is build an audience. Now, so it's free to set up a Goodreads account. And then I'm going to click on right now. This is my author account on Goodreads. Now, there's my 1-minute video all about my book. And then right here, I list all my social media. So if you like me, you can connect to me through the social media. So by doing this, it's going to, again, build your social media outlets. On down here, you can post your blog. At the moment, there's nothing that connects WordPress to Goodreads, but you can go in here and post the blog. So there's my blog. So first you set up your Goodreads account, and I have to thank Rama. Rama was the one who emphasized to me that I needed to set up a Goodreads account. So you set up a Goodreads account. Once you do that, you let them know you're an author, and then you can get an author page, which is free. Then you invite your friends to, you invite people to be your friends on Goodreads. And then a lot of these people will become your fans. So right now I have 19 friends on fans on Goodreads. One of the things that I personally do is when somebody becomes my friend on Goodreads, if they are an author, I become their fan, because I make the assumption that there's probably, if they're a successful published author, there may be something that I can learn from them. But by having a Goodreads page and having friends and developing fans, then if someone looks you up, it makes you look like an actual for real author with something to say. Now, by doing this, I have had friends, I've had people review my books. Now, here, this person right here wants to be my friend. Let's click on it. Somebody named Richard. I'm going to prove that because I want to be friends with everybody. Then I'm going to look at Richard. So learn more about him. Now, Richard is a fellow author. He writes poetry, ebooks, and philosophy. And because I feel like I can learn from anybody, I'm going to become his fan. Now, I read this earlier, and I just wanted to show you this. I'm going to click on a message. So somebody has sent me a message, and this lady has responded to me through Goodreads. And long story short, because I'm her friend and because I interacted with her through Goodreads, she's asked me if I would write articles for 2 of her personal blogs. So by interacting with people, we can expand our reach, expand the number of people who hear about us, and build our social media platform. Now, as I mentioned, once you become a Goodreads person and then become a Goodreads author, then you can create a giveaway. So here's the giveaway that I'm doing right now, and I want to emphasize a couple things. So I've set up the giveaway. I'm going to give 10 copies. You have to be in the US, and then you can enter and win for free. Now, once people enter my giveaway, what I then do is I go through each person. Let me click on this person right here and make sure they're my friend. So this person's already my friend. So what I do is I go back through. If somebody's not my friend, then I send them a little message saying, let's say, okay, she's my friend and I'm a fan of hers. I would send that person a little personal message saying, dear Joanne, thank you so much for entering my Goodreads giveaway. I hope you win. If you're not I would send him a friend request, so then we become friends. And by doing this, I've developed more fans and developed more friends and interacted more. And because of that, I have a lot more people who've added their books added my book to their wish list, so they want to read about it. And again, the whole thing, this particular giveaway is going to cost me about $100. So you build your audience, you interact with people, and then because of that, somebody recently through Goodreads asked me to be on his podcast. So sometimes people say to me, why should I do this social media? It's boring and I don't get anything out of it. What you want to really think about is creating win-win. And when you think about win-win, you're going to want to share the information for other people. Let me go back to Twitter and show you something else that I do on Twitter. When somebody takes the time to follow me, okay, so all right, here's somebody who just followed me. All right, let's look at him. I've already followed him back. These people, I'm going to follow back. So if people follow me, I generally follow back. Then what I do is I go to their website, their Twitter feed, and I actually look at their tweet feed and then look and see if there's anything here in their tweet feed that other people might like. All right, so here's a recipe for success. I'm going to retweet that. In general, if I have a new Twitter follower, I will retweet them usually about 3 times at least. And by doing that, that's another way of building my audience. Now, this particular gentleman, he has 90.8 thousand followers. So this guy is a heavyweight on Twitter. So I'm going to really want to pay attention to what he's saying. And if I retweet him, more than likely, he's going to share more of my information. So the more we think win-win in the social media, the more successful we're going to be. So I figure my Twitter followers will probably like to see this picture of the doggy with the chickens. This morning I was going through the people who recently followed me, and one of the people who recently followed me, their information was pornographic. So I immediately unfollowed them because I don't want that to show up in my Twitter feed. So I retweet my new followers, and you, of course, if you don't want to do social ally, you can come up here and see what people are responding to you about. Now, one of the things that happens on Twitter is that people who really like what you are saying will create lists. This person, Leanne Mako, added me to a list of authors. So I'm going to go over to that list, and then I'm going to subscribe. Now, what's really cool about this is that if you look at the members, those are going to be a whole bunch of other authors that I could potentially follow. Now, personally, I'm not real aggressive on following other people. Usually I put out good information and then I follow back people who follow me. Robin has let me know that if you're too aggressive on following, that Twitter could possibly shut you down. So I sort of let things happen a little bit more organically. And then last but not least, let me go through some other things. Facebook, birthday, I just sent a picture under, I send him a flower picture just saying happy birthday, and that's just a way of interacting more with my friends. And any rate, so in summary, once you build your social media network, you want to actually interact with people, because that's what builds your audience. That's what builds your clout. I have a client in my business who used to be CEO of a marketing company in New York. And I told her, I said, you are not doing your Twitter properly. And I had gone to her Twitter feed and followed her. However, no one had bothered to follow me back. And this is somebody who's my client. And I explained to her, I said, and she said, oh, well, I have somebody managing my Twitter account. And I said, well, they're not being very polite. So in general, if somebody follows you on Twitter, especially as a new author trying to build your audience, you want to follow them back. And again, unless they're pornographic or extremely violent or, express some point of view that you really don't agree with. And but by not following back she had a very small Twitter account. And she's a person who is trying to build a business where she has CEOs in New York to come out to her, so she could do better just by interacting more. So part 5, what happens if we do nothing? Well, I'm 55 years old, and I really care about what I do. And one of the things that keeps to do the social media is that I want to keep building, writing books, and I want to keep building my business, and I want to create a business that's going to be successful no matter where I am in the world. And I have seen friends who are very experienced and highly trained at what they do be completely outmarketed by 25-year-olds, 22-year-olds. And if you watch business, what you will notice is that the most successful businesses these days have a great social media and really have learned how to interact with their followers. So I'm winding down. You are welcome to read the written materials about this presentation on my blog, CatherineCarrigan.com, and also on LimitedEnergyNow.com. I would, not that I know everything, because I don't. This is just my experience and what I've learned. But I'm more than happy to take questions at this point. And so I'm going to let Rama sort of mediate the questions. Rama?
Thank you, Catherine. If you want to click off the screen share, then we can get the big image again.
Oh yeah, okay. Hold on a minute. Let me see how I do that.
At the top of the page, I think. There we go.
Yeah, stop share. Okay, awesome.
Boy, Catherine, that was a heck of a lot of information. You have all of our heads spinning, and you spoke for an hour and a half nonstop. Totally amazing. I want to thank you first off for sharing all this information, and I just want everybody to realize that you have to start somewhere with this process, okay? Catherine obviously, started, and she keeps on going, but many of us are in that point of paralysis a little bit, and the point being that you do need to start somewhere in this process, and Catherine gave us a lot of tools. There are other dashboard, programs available. Social Ally is a customized dashboard. It's actually made by a gentleman in England that I've spoken to, and he has a great program. There are some free ones. The most well-known one is called Hootsuite, and so that could be a place to start. But I want to make a real important point here, and this is one of the things I respect most from Catherine as I've worked with her. She has tried a lot of things. She has, not been afraid to spend additional funds to see if something works for her. And one of the big business adages that business people realize is that you need to spend money to make money. And many of us don't quite grasp that, and we look at the website as, oh, I spent $500 extra on my website. Well, websites can cost thousands and thousands and thousands of dollars. Those fancy websites that you see cost a mint. I mean, we are doing websites kind of on a budget, but it is important to realize that spending a little bit can go a long way, and to hire somebody to help us doing tweets and things like that can benefit greatly. So I don't want people to spend lots of money on lots of programs if they're not going to use them, but if you are going to use them and you do need help, there are people out there. The resources that Catherine shared are tested by her. Okay, so you have a good recommendation in this way. And just keep that in the back of your mind. You know, I have a huge website from my old bike shop. And fortunately for me, a friend built that at no cost. But if I actually costed out that website, it probably would have cost easily $25,000 to build. So, you know, keep, costs under control, but also budget yourself on a monthly, yearly basis to spend some additional money. This is a business endeavor that you're taking on, and, just realize that all those expenses are tax deductible. Not that that helps if you're not making any money, but keep those expenses in a special column. Realize that they can help as well. You can unmute yourself if you want to ask questions. I see that Tom Carroll has already unmuted himself, so we'll start with him.
Good morning, Catherine. Along with everyone else, I want to thank you. I've heard so much about you through Rama, and you're certainly as knowledgeable and as had been billed. So thank you again. My question was simply about the timing. You mentioned posting at 8 a.m. Of course, your East Coast time. How do you account for the time zones all the way to Rama in Hawaii?
Okay, that's a great question. So what I showed you was the social ally dashboard, and that just showed you, based on my experience, when is a good time. And the truth is that the best time for you to post could be another time of day. So that's just an example of the kind of information that you share out. I think a good rule of thumb is if you're starting out to post on, if you're completely starting out, you're just going to ask my opinion, I would try and post something on Facebook at least every 3 days, and to respond to everybody who responds to you, at some point, whether it's every day or over a period of time. But again, getting back to people is extremely important. As far as Twitter goes, a good rule of thumb on Twitter, because it's such a fast-moving thing. Again, I try and post something out at least once an hour on Twitter, if you're going to do Twitter. But as Rama said, and I didn't mention this, if you're starting out with your social media, what I would do is focus on one of the platforms at a time. Okay, maybe start with Facebook, start with Twitter, get comfortable. To me, a lot of this is like juggling. Once you juggle 2 balls, then you add in another one, and it's not that big of a deal. But one of the ways to not get overwhelmed is to start with one social media at a time. Go ahead and set up if I were an author and I wanted to be successful, I would go ahead and set up all my accounts, but focus on really learning maybe one new account a month. But go ahead and set up your account so that when you blog and you post, you're starting to build the material on each of the sites. Is that helpful?
It's all helpful information. Let's say that my the analysis comes back that 8 a.m. is a good time for me as well, but 8 a.m. for me Pacific time is, of course, later in the day, clear across the nation or in Hawaii. So I was just wondering if you accounted for the different time zones. The other thing that you mentioned was Jetpack, that immediately posts to all these different social medias. They all want different sizes of feeds. As you pointed out, Twitter wants 140 words maximum, whereas you're writing articles that are somewhere in the 500-word category. Does Jetpack immediately cut things down? If they do, of course, they're editing for you, and that could be interesting.
Yes. So to answer your question, the best time to post in the social media for you, your audience could be at a different time of day, and I understand you're on the Pacific Coast, so your experience could be different. Jetpack, when it posts, it'll on Google Plus and Tumblr, it'll usually post the beginning of the article with a link to the rest. And what I didn't say also is once I post a blog, I will also then pin it on Pinterest. I put it up myself on Pinterest. And yes, you are correct. Jetpack automatically creates a Twitter-friendly 140-character link for you. So the Jetpack will post in the Jetpack will connect to your social media in the way that each of the social media needs to be posted to. Does that help?
It helps very much. Thank you. I do appreciate it. You've been at it for a long time. This is the last. I'll let somebody else jump in. You are actually a full-time author now, and you're making an adult-sized living, I gather.
Well, my main business is I'm a medical intuitive healer, and I have clients all over the world. And so one of the things that we have to realize that when we have a business, there are actually three parts to the business. One of the parts of the business is production. It's providing your service. And what I see a lot in a lot of holistic practitioners is that they focus on being excellent at what they do, but they don't do any marketing. And, I could be the best medical intuitive healer in the world, and I consider myself to be one of the best for sure. But if nobody knows about me, I'm not going to have any business. So the three parts of all business are production, sales and marketing, and administration. I also do accounting. I have a wonderful accountant. I have systems in my business. But we have to remember that if we don't do sales and marketing, nothing happens. And the social media is actually where people are getting their sales and marketing information. As I mentioned in the beginning, consumers only trust 10% of advertising, and 78% of consumers trust peer recommendations. So the best way to do that is to connect through the social media, because the truth is that people buy books from people they like. People do business with people they like. And as we interact with people and they get to know us, then they find out about us and buy our books and become our clients.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I saw that Jasmina was unmuted. Jasmina, do you have a question for Catherine?
I do. Thank you, Rama. I did a free book offer on Goodreads, and I have quite a few people that want to read my book. What's the best way to connect directly with them?
Well, did you do a giveaway, Jasmina?
Yes,
okay.
I did.
Okay, well, what I would do is, again, or what I've done is everybody who's entered your giveaway, send them a personal message saying, hi, this is Jasmina. Thank you for, I hope you win. Invite them to be your fans. Invite them to be your friends. Okay, people can decide for themselves whether they're a fan of you and your writing, but invite them to be your friends, and that's going to help build your fan base and your friend base on Goodreads, so that the next time you have a book that comes out, more people will know about you. Is that helpful?
Yeah, the giveaway was good. It was successful. I mean, and I had like a lot of people that want to read, but I guess it's more like after the fact.
Okay.
I ended that I want to go, make more personal, direct contact. Should I send them an excerpt from my book? What do you think? Or
that's a good question. If you have the contact information for the people who entered your giveaway, what you could do is send them a follow-up message saying, thank you for entering my giveaway. I'm sorry that you personally didn't win, but I'm more than happy to send you a free chapter. Here's my email, and send me an email if you want the free chapter. And that way you can continue the conversation with them.
Okay, that's great. Thank you. Okay, we're in line. Thank you. Great presentation. I'm on my way. Thank you.
Yeah, I think a big message is that, so many people think that this is all going to be like magic. And the truth is that, we build our audience person by person. We interact with somebody, they have a positive interaction with us. They share that, our information with their friends. And you build it person by person. It's not a clump thing or a group thing. You don't. I talked to Denise Casino, the Amazon specialist, one time about I'll just say, world famous author who has 500,000 Twitter followers. I asked her about him, and she said, "Oh, he bought those followers." I didn't buy I interacted with them. I had honest interactions with them, and that way, we have more honest, actual communication. Yeah.
Thank you, Catherine and Jasmina. Tom Pitts, it looks like you've unmuted yourself. Do you have a question?
Yes, Catherine, you seem to be doing a really complete job on the social media. And I was always afraid it's going to take me like 60 hours a week to get all that done. But how much time do you spend?
That's a really good question. And, here's my honest answer. I have a business, and remember what I said, there's 3 parts of a business: providing your service, making your widget, what have you, the accounting, the administration, and then the sales and marketing. So generally, I may have a day where I'm very busy with clients and I don't do very much on the social media. But if I have a day with not very many clients and I have more time to devote to that, I devote to that. In addition to that, I actually enjoy blogging. I mean, those of us who are authors, we're usually authors because we like to write. And, I may be working out or going for a walk, and I have an idea for an article because somebody asked me about something, and I think, gosh, I really need to write about that. Or my SEO guy in London, he said, please write an article about this or that. And then when I get around to it, when I have my free time and I'm back at my laptop, I'll just, do a blog, especially those of us who've done the Tom Bird method. We know that you don't have to spend a lot of time writing, but just get it out of your head, onto your paper, onto your computer. It doesn't have to be perfect. Just put something down, and more than likely it's going to be helpful for somebody else. And so I don't put any time pressure on myself. I kind of do this social media the way I do other things. In other words, I don't pressure myself. I don't put any requirements on myself. And if I get bored and I want to do something else, I do something else. So I keep it fresh and interesting. One of the things that I do, my hobbies are beading, knitting, and of course writing. And what I found was when I was knitting and beading, I'd be knitting like crazy and making scarves and shawls. And then at some point I just get bored of that. And then I go to my beading, and I'd make earrings, and I'd make necklaces, and I'd make bracelets. And then I get bored of that. And so I would switch back and forth between my creative activities. And so by switching back and forth between my creative activities, I'm always in a state of joy and appreciation. And it's not like, oh God, here I go again, I'm knitting another scarf, or here I go again, I'm making my social media. Does that help? So if I were starting out, I know it sounds crazy and it's not left brain, but do it in a way that is helpful and enjoyable for you. And I think that when you really start interacting with like-minded people, and you realize that there are people out there sitting on the other end of their computer trying to come up with good ideas, you'll make some friends and it'll be worthwhile, right? Just like making friends in real life. I love my friends. I get a lot out of interacting with them. Is that helpful?
Okay. Yeah. So it's not all consuming. Could be 5 or 6 hours a week, and that's what I do. That's enough, huh?
Yeah, just do what you feel like doing. Keep it fun, because if you don't keep it fun and it becomes a grind, who does anything that's not any fun? I mean, my whole life is fun.
Yeah.
That's one of the big secrets, It's like I love what I do, and if it becomes tiresome or boring, I do something else.
Okay. You're breaking up a little bit then.
Yes, sorry about that. I have no idea what's going on with the internet here.
Okay, well thanks. I haven't done a couple of interactions. I think you inspired me to do the interacting with the people. I've retweeted and refollowed some people, but not very actively. I think that will prove the most enjoyable for me to start next. Thanks.
Bill Murphy, you've unmuted yourself. Do you have a question for Catherine?
I just wanted to say thank you so much for doing this. This is like awe-inspiring. So I appreciate it.
Oh, well, thank you, Bill. And you and I have shared blogs, remember?
Yes, we have.
Yeah, and again, everybody who's listening, if you have a blog or a website and you want to post on my blog, and my rule is I post one blog for every blog you post of me. And this is a great tool. I mean, all of us who are writers, we like to write. So, the lady on Goodreads who asked me to write for her blog, I just said, great, what do you want me to write about? And then she told me. So, the more we interact with each other, the more we can help each other to be successful, right?
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Yeah. The we is much more powerful than the I. And the us is more powerful than the we. So, together we succeed.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. Send me another blog.
Oh, I will.
Okay, good.
Hey, I just would like to thank Catherine again. Don't see anyone else that's unmuted. I think the big lesson that I saw through this whole thing is that with a dashboard approach, you can schedule your posts with the WordPress component of blogging. You can schedule your blogs, but you still need to interact with people. And I think that that's the real key lesson that Catherine is teaching here. And I think that if you were to study many of the social media experts, that it is a component that they all want to share, that you do need to interact. You can't kind of just repost and retweet and like this and like that and expect to grow very quickly. Catherine, thank you very much. Victoria, you've unmuted yourself. Do you have a question?
I know, but I just want to have a comment. I want to say hi to Bill, and thank you, everyone. And the thing I got from this is be interested rather than being interesting. And I think that that's a really great way to, if you come from your heart and you're really serious about being interested in other people, then they'll be interested in you, and it'll be a different agenda. You're not in there to get business. You're there to be interested in other people, and then it'll happen naturally.
Yes, and I would say that most of the information that I put out is what I consider useful or helpful information.
Right.
And and so like you said, when we really care about other people, because other people they're on the other side of their computer trying to come up with something helpful or interesting to say, and when we care about them, they're going to care about us.
Right. Thank you very much. It was fabulous.
Thank you.
And once again, thank you, Catherine. We'll have you back doing a little interview for your newly released book in the next few weeks.
Thank you. And everybody who's listening, hook up with me on the social media. If you go to my Goodreads site, all my social media connections are listed. You can also go to CatherineCarrigan.com or UnlimitedEnergyNow.com.
Oh, it looks like the internet has stopped for a moment. The unreliability of bandwidth. I don't know where it's coming from, but Catherine has frozen there for a moment.
Rama, can I jump in?
Yep.
Let me encourage everyone to go to Rama's Writers Alliance on Facebook. Tell us which of your books you'd like reviews for. If we can get a PDF or an inexpensive Kindle, you've got a fan base here built in. We'd love to review your books, give everyone a little extra push.
Well, we will be back next week. I'm glad that the webinars are running again, even though I did like the little break from getting up at 6 in the morning. I miss all of you, even though, I may be younger than some of you. You're all my children. Thank you, everybody, for tuning in. And thank you again, Catherine. That was tremendous. Any other author that has not done an interview that has a book, Patty Lee, you could do an interview and talk about your book. Anyone that would like to do a new one, Jasmina, I know that we lost your interview and we'd love to get that posted up on the web. So, and Victoria, I know you're very close to having a book available. James Parker will be doing you very soon. Deborah Lightheart, anybody that wants to do another interview, the time is available. And I want to thank you all for tuning in, and especially Catherine for devoting so much time. Thank you all. I will be back next week, same time, and we'll have a couple of different rooms open. So we'll be back to the 9 to 10 and then 10 to 11 schedule. Thank you, everyone. Enjoy your Saturday.